Hi, this tutorial will show you how to set up the WooCommerce product table plugin. So where we want to go is that we want to have a table of your products which you can put anywhere on your website. It will look something like this table with various products from WooCommerce stored in a list here in your table and whatever columns you want. In the tutorial, I'll be going through the major features of the product and how to configure the table to suit your needs. And I'll also tell you where you can go for further information about how to fine-tune the table. So to get started, go to the dashboard for your WordPress admin and you want to create a new page, assuming that you want to put your table on a page. You could also put it within a post if you wanted to. So pages, add new, and I'm just going to call it product table. You can call your page anything you like. And I'm going to show you the default usage first, which is simply product underscore table, and you surround it in square brackets. So square bracket, product underscore table, close square bracket, and we will publish the page. And this will create a product table with the default option so that you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to view my page now and scroll down to see the table, and this is what it looks like straight out of the box. So all I've done is add that short code, and it's given me I can select how many rows per page. I can do a search for something within the table and see how it filters by that field, and it's got some information about the product displayed. So it's got the name, it's got the summary, which is your short description from your WooCommerce add product page. You've got the price, and there's an add to cart button. So if that's how you want the table to work, then that's fine and you can stop watching straight away. But next I'm going to show you how you can customize the table to display different information and to behave in different ways. So that's the default usage, and we're going to go a bit more advanced now. First thing I'm going to do is tell the table which columns to display. So each column has a piece of information about one of my WooCommerce products. So I'm going to type columns equals. So see how I put that within the shortcode before the closed square brackets. So I've got column, and it's columns with an S, columns equals, and I'm going to tell it to display, well, first of all I'll show you everything that you can display and talk you through it, and then I'll remove some rows because obviously you wouldn't want every possible piece of information in the table. So the SKU is the unique identifying number which you can store for a WooCommerce product. So if you're having a more sort of catalogue based layout, you might want that in there, but it's not essential. Product name, pretty much all of you will want that. So that is the product name that when you create a product you add it at the top up there. You've got the description. The description is the long product description, and you can also alter how long the description is, so how many words are displayed. So you can use the documentation to do that. You've got short dash description, which is the short description that appears right at the bottom of the add or edit product page. So short description often appears right at the top of your product page on your website next to the featured image and the add to cart button and all that. Whereas the long description, which we call description here, tends to be lower down the product page and has more information in it. So you can display either of those within your WooCommerce product table. Another piece of information you can display as a column is the date. Now that is the date that the product was added to the website, and if you look at the documentation there are different options for how that date would be formatted as well. So you can display a date used by adding date within the columns section. You can also display tags that you've stored about your products. So tags, you've got in products tags. So if you've been tagging your products you can display a column with those tags within the table. You can also display the featured image for the product, and so that's the main featured image, not any additional gallery images that you've got. You can display the star rating, which summarises the reviews that people have left of each product. So to do that you add reviews within the list of columns. You can have the stock level, so if you're using the WooCommerce inventory features, then, and you've actually added a stock level, then it will display that, or in stock, or depending on what your stock settings are within WooCommerce. If you're using weight and dimensions, then you can add weight and or dimensions. So you can have a column for weight and a column for dimensions. So if your products are size based in that way, then they might be useful. You can add the price, so that's a useful field to have. And finally, the other option is add to cart. So those are all the different columns that you can add within your product table. And look closely at exactly how I've spelled it, because that links in with the way WooCommerce stores information, so that the plugin knows what to display. So after that, we close the brackets and the speech marks, and so those are every possible piece of information. I'll just have a look at it, but it probably won't work because that's a lot of information to put within a table. So we'll just see what it looks like. Not as bad as I expected. So the reason for that is because it's a responsive table, it's hidden some extra information. So because I've got so many columns, there's a little plus here on the left so that the extra columns have been hidden. So it's quite a nice feature that the plugin does hide away any information if it doesn't all fit. And if you look at the documentation, then you can actually tell it to prioritise which information will never be hidden and that kind of thing. So if, say, you've got loads of columns and you don't want reviews hidden or date, then you could prioritise those so that they will not be the ones that the plugin hides. So that's quite nice. But I'd rather make the table a bit tidier. So let's get rid of some of the columns and just focus on the most popular ones. So I'm going to get rid of stock, weight and dimensions, SKU, because not that many people use that. And we don't want a description and a short description. So I'll lose the description for now, and let's see what it looks like. Actually, I think I'm going to move image to the left, because I'll just go back to the table. The image is there. Now, a lot of product tables, you're probably more likely to display the image on the left. So by changing the order of the way the columns are listed, it actually changes the order that they display on the front end of your website on your product table. So if we refresh now, see we've lost the plus icon because all of my columns now fit within the table. The featured image is on the left because I changed the order, and it all lines up quite nicely. It's looking better, so that's great. And so let's carry on configuring it. So far all we've done is added the shortcode and told it which columns to display in which order. But you can go further and do even more than that. I think I'm going to rename some of the column headings now to show you how to do that. So let's change the word summary to description, say. So let's go back to our table. So that's short description. So what you do is, after short description, you add a colon. So you find the field that you want to edit, you add a colon and you call it description. That will tell the table to call this column description instead of summary. So just to repeat that, because it is a bit complicated, you find the column within your shortcode that you want to change the name of, you add a colon and then you add the name of it. So let's click update, and so this is how it was before. It says summary at the top of the row, and what I want to do is refresh my page and rename it to description. So you see, because I changed the shortcode, it now says description at the column header, and you can rename any of the headers to be more relevant to you. The next thing I want to do is add a quantity selector. So we've got add to cart buttons, which is great, but what if you want to buy 2 of the Black Ninja hoodie? Well, you can't at the moment. So what you need to do is add a quantity selector here so that people can select more than one of the hoodie. So we go to the shortcode again. We see I've put the cursor after the closed quotation marks and before the square brackets, and I'm going to add show underscore quantity and then equals, and again in quotation marks, is true. So basically show quantity is true. So I'm going to click update, and then we're going to go back to the table and refresh it. And see, now we have a quantity selector so that I can add multiple products, and then I can click the add to cart button. So I can buy much more from the table in that way. As you can see, at the moment, there's a couple of columns which are clickable. We've got the tags. So when you click on that, it actually filters by the tag. And I should probably have mentioned earlier that another item you can add to the table is categories. So categories, I didn't show you that one. So let's add that before the tags, because that's another item that can be clickable. So we go and refresh the table again. I'm going to add a categories column here. There it is. So we've got the categories, and if I click on that, then it will filter by those items. Now you can change that. If you look at the documentation, it will tell you how to change what happens when you click on a category or a tag or whatever. You could have it take you through to the relevant category page rather than filtering the table. So there are options for both in the documentation. But I think it's quite nice to be able to filter using these, because it's a nice handy way for people to sort through the table. So the categories and tags by default let you sort, whereas if you click on the name of a product, which I'll do now, it takes you to the single product page so that people can read more information and buy the product from there. So different types of links in the table, and there are different ways that you can let that behave as well. So back into our shortcode, you can make certain columns clickable. You could make the SKU clickable to go through to the product page, the product name as we've seen, the categories and the tags, and you can also make the image click through to the single product page as well. So there's a few different pieces of information that if you're using them as columns, you can make them clickable. What I'm going to do is tell it, first of all, which one should be clickable. So I'm going to tell it that I do want categories and name to be clickable, but not tags. So let's do that next. So I'm going to add links equals open quotation marks, and I wanted name to be clickable. So we type name, and we also want categories to be clickable. And then we close the quotation mark. And I see that my autocorrect has got rid of the S on links, so it's links equals, and then in quotation marks you list the categories. And don't put a space after the comma, just worth noting. See, none of them have spaces. So we'll go to update, and then we will refresh. So here we've got that clickable, the name's clickable, the category is still clickable, but now if I click on it, it will take me through to the category page depending on what I've set within my shortcode. And finally, tags is no longer clickable. That's because I've overridden the default behaviour by saying that I only want the name and the categories to be clickable. But what happens if you just want an information-based product table? What if you do not want anything to be clickable? Well, that's fine too. What you do is you go links equals none, and you can click update, and I'll just have a look at what that looks like. So now I've refreshed, you can see nothing is clickable anymore. It's a standalone table, and you could, if you're doing using your table in this way, you might want to hide the add to cart button as well, so people can't really interact with it in the same way. It's just an information-based list of your products, so you don't even have to have the add to cart column. It can be totally information-based. So that's the links, and if you wanted everything that's clickable to be links, then you could click add links equals quotation marks all. So just the final option with links is to all. This is going to add links to everything that can possibly have links. So you see my featured image is now linked, the name, categories and the tags. Things like the description aren't ever clickable. Nobody would really want that. So that's the maximum number of links you can have within your table. Now you can see that the order of the product may or may not be how you want it. So if you don't like the default sort order, then you can sort by other information. You can sort by any column in the table, so anything that's a column you can sort by it, or you can sort by other things as well, which we'll go into in a minute. So first of all, let's tell it to sort by price because that's a popular one. So adding to the table again, we've got sort underscore by equals, and then we're going to do quotation marks again, price. So let's update our table. So now it's changed the order. So it's most people who sort by price would want to do ascending order. So that's the cheapest first, going up in price. So the cheapest products are displayed first, going up. Your customers can change that order by clicking themselves, so they can click on any header. So the only thing that this controls, the sort by parameter in your shortcode, is how the table is sorted by default. Your customers can always override that and sort it themselves as they choose. So you can sort by any column by just adding the name of the column here, or you can sort by some other information as well. So you could sort by menu order, for example, even if that wasn't in the table, which it wouldn't be. So menu order, that is the order that you give your products. So when you edit your products within the admin, you'll see an order option where you can add 0, 1, 2 and so on. And once you've done that, then you can use this menu order to sort by that within the table. So that gives you more control over how the products are sorted. So that's another option for sorting. You can sort by other things too, like date, price, popularity, rating, like average reviews, so that your most highly reviewed products would appear first. And you could also type rand, which is random, so have them displayed differently each time the table loads. So that's sort by. Let's add to the table a bit more. So the next thing I want to do is change it a little bit. I want to display products that are in a specific category only. So at the moment, you can see that it displays all categories, but a lot of people would want to display a table with just one category. You may have multiple tables on your website, each one displaying a specific category or something like that. So I'll show you how to do that next. To just display products in one category, we need to change the setup a little bit. We obviously don't want a categories column because we're only showing one category. And so we need to think carefully about which columns we would want to display. So to show one specific category, we need to know the slug of the category that we want to show. So right now I'm going to go to products categories and show you how to find out that information. So if I want to just display products in my t-shirts category, say, then I'm in product categories and I look down the list to find the category, and then I'm just going to hover over view. Now I don't know if you can see at the very bottom of my screen that the end of the address is t-shirts. Now that is the slug of my category, and I'm just going to click quick edit then, and the slug you can also get via quick edit, so that's t-shirts. So I'm just going to copy that now. Right, back to my shortcode. So what I want to do is tell it to just display products in the category with the slug t-shirts. To do that, we are going to write category equals, and then in quotation marks, I'm pasting what I copied a minute ago, t-shirts. And then I'm going to update the table and show you what we can see. So this is how the table was before, showing all categories. So now I'm refreshing and it's just showing t-shirts. I deleted the categories column, as you saw a minute ago, because we are only showing t-shirt products. So that's a different way you can use the table. You can do the same thing with tags, i.e. you would only display products with a specific tag, like you might want to show black products only or something like that. And you can do the same with year, month and day. So based on when the product was added, you can create a table just showing products that were added in a certain time period. Like you might want to add products that are new this month, so have a nice prominent table on your home page to say new this month, and you would then use this month to sort by. So that's one way you can use that. At the moment, I've only added one category. But what if I wanted to add products from two categories? So let's add hoodies. So I'm going to quick edit on my hoodies category, and I'm copying the slug again. So that's within products categories. And we click quick edit to get the slug. And then I'm going to copy that into my table. After t-shirts, I put a little comma and then paste in hoodies and click update. And that is going to show me both hoodies and t-shirts within my table. Again, you can do the same by adding multiple tags and dates and years and all of that. All of those you can have multiple ones or just a single one. Another option, at the moment, by putting a comma between them, that shows both, it shows products which are in the t-shirt category and also shows products that are in the hoodies category. What if I only wanted to show products that are in t-shirts and hoodies? Well, to do that, you would add a plus instead of a column, and that tells the table to only show products that are in both the t-shirts and the hoodies category. So I'm going to refresh. I expect there aren't any, but yeah, and then it says no products available in the table. If you want to customize that wording, look at the documentation and it will tell you how to do that, and you can make that wording anything you like for when there are no products available. The next popular thing you might want to do is to tell the table how many rows per page to display. So to do that, we go rows underscore per underscore page equals, and then in quotation marks you tell it how many per page. So I'm going to write 5. You can add any number you want, and then update. And in my table, hang on, sorry, I'm going to have to remove category equals because it's obviously not showing anything at the moment. So I'm just removing the category specific part of the shortcode so that it will now display products from any category. So we'll refresh again. So we've got everything back now, which is great. And it is now showing 5 per page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at the bottom you can see there's pagination so that people can click to other numbers. And they can choose, your user can choose how many per page. So if they wanted to show 25 per page, then they could click that and it would increase. See, the table's got bigger. So it's only the default number per page that you're controlling via rows per page. And finally, I'm just going to give you a tip in case you have many products on your website. So we're talking if you have thousands of products, then things could get a bit slow. And the way WooCommerce product table loads, the way it works is that when you first load the table, every single product is loaded. Every product in the table is loaded. So if the table shows all your products and you have thousands of products, then even if you have pagination at the bottom, it will load every single one. There is a good reason for that. It's to let things like the sorting work so that it can pull products from the other pages when you sort the table or when you do a filter in the search box or something like that. So even if there's no t-shirts on that current page, then by searching it, because it's already loaded them all, it will instantly return the correct results. But if you have thousands of products, that's not necessarily a good thing because of the performance implications. It could get very slow and it could potentially even crash if it was loading very large numbers, especially if you've got featured images loading at the same time. So there is another option which is suitable for websites with more products, which stops that from happening. If we go to our shortcode and we add lazy underscore load equals quotation marks true, Though by adding lazy_load equals true, we tell the table to only load the products for each individual page. And then when you have pagination at the bottom, the next page will only load when you click to page 2 and so on. Now that will disable some of the search and filter features within the table because all of the products have not already loaded, but that is a necessary option if you have very, very large numbers of products. And that's it. So I hope you're still with me. It's been quite an in-depth tutorial and I've told you how to do lots of different things with WooCommerce product table. There's even more you can do with it. So if you look at the documentation, you will find other options to control things like the size of your featured image, how wide each of your columns are, the format for your dates. There's tons of stuff in the documentation, and I've tried to cover the most popular features. You can also control how your table behaves on smaller screen sizes. So there's lots there. Have a look through the documentation, and I hope this has helped you to get started with creating your own product table.